What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about a very simple thing which I believe is very important. Stop buying Romance Dawn singles. Unless you see me selling them online because I'm totally trying to take advantage of it, which I'm probably too lazy to do. But if you see mine, feel free to buy mine. Otherwise, stop buying Romance Dawn singles. Right now, it's about the worst possible time to buy Romance Dawn singles. Let me explain. So we've just seen this past Friday, just a couple of days ago, we saw the official release of Romance Dawn. And we're all very excited about this. I am very excited about this. I'm usually a good boy. What I usually do is I wait until the Saturday to go and pick up new sets because my local game store isn't actually that local. It's realistically, time I actually get to the shop and back, it's about a 2.5 hour round trip. It's not that close, but it's the closest local game store I've got, and I love my local game store and I want to support them. So I generally leave it till the weekend, trip over with my kids, job's a good un. Oh no, not for Romance Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. For Romance Dawn, I'm going over there on Friday. I had to go to the dentist, but I literally left the dentist, picked up my boy, went to get Romance Dawn. I was excited too. The thing is, people as it stands at the moment are massively overpaying, and I'm going to go into some examples and give you some details and all of that in a minute, but just at the short term, let's say I really want an alternate art Nami. That's the card we're going to be talking about today. So I really want an alternate art Nami. That's quite important to me. Okay. Do I need to buy it now? Because the game has just launched. Which means that realistically, what's going to happen is there aren't that many Nami that have been pulled. Over time, more and more Nami are going to get pulled. And there's going to be more and more for sale. And people say simple supply and demand a lot, and often wrong. But this is actually, in this very specific instance, simple supply and demand. While there are not that many being sold, it looks scarce, which drives the price up. As more are pulled, you can go ahead and wait for the price to drop, and then buy it cheaper. And if you really want it for your deck, good news! The alternate art Nami is just a reprint, an alternate art reprint of just a general rare card, which ain't going to be that expensive. It's fine. It's actually an alright card. It's just not, it's not stunning. For me personally, I want that alternate art Roanoa Zoro card. It's got Akira Ogawa artwork. It looks stunning. I want it. I am not paying $60 for that card. And the reason is super simple. I don't have to. So I'm not gonna. I mean, let's give you one example. I talked about Nami, right? So let's talk about Nami. If we take a look at the graph over on TCG Player, we can see that it started at 150, went up to 160, and now it's 125. And don't buy it at 125. Now, let me be super clear because I need to be a little bit clear about this. I don't know what's going to happen. I cannot possibly know what's going to happen. I am not from the future, and I do not have the ability to travel to the future. However, I do follow card games quite closely, and unless you get an absolutely ridiculous card, something like the Umbreon alternate art from Evolving Skies over in Pokemon, the price always comes down. And to be fair, even the Moonbreon, as it is affectionately known, that still came down initially before jumping up to the ridiculous price it is nowadays. And the thing is, the pull rates are good in One Piece. Way better than the Japanese version. And part of the problem we've got here is that people have looked at the Japanese version, and yes, some of these cards, I'll give you a couple of examples in a minute, some of these cards really are that expensive over in Japan. So you really are paying over the odds over in Japan to go and pick up these cards. So at that, yeah, I mean, fine. At that point, yes. But this isn't Japan. We have better pull rates, It's not quite as scarce. Romance Dawn really is kind of ridiculously rare over in, it's very hard to get over there as it stands at the moment. So fine, I will admit that over in Japan, some of those prices, as high as they are actually maybe worth it. Or if not worth it, at least unavoidable. As sad as that makes me. Over here, I just really don't think that's the case. I mean, over in Japan, that card is generally for sale for about 21,000 yen. That's about roughly what it seems to go for. That is roughly what I'm seeing as I look around Mercari. It's kind of like what Japanese players tend to use instead of eBay. And to be fair, 21,000 yen is $155, which is actually even more than we're charging over here. The difference is, it's been out for a while, Romance Dawn has, over in Japan. And we let the price kind of go up and down, and we've let it settle, and now we've kind of got to accept that it's a $155 card. We don't have to accept that in English yet, and I've already shown you the TCG player graph. Chances are these are going to come down. I mean, one of the things I find amazing about One Piece, the TCG, and it's also the same thing we see in Digimon, which is awesome. Super rares are 7 to a box. And there's only 10 of them in the set. And they don't tend to repeat. I've not seen Digimon or One Piece repeating. So it's not like you get 7 random, you get 7 out of 10. So there should not be any at all. There should not be any super rares that are selling for any kind of high price at all. Well, the highest one is the Roronoa Zoro, which is about a $15 card as it stands at the moment. I'm giving you the graph here as well, because it's come down from a $19 card to a $14 card very, very quickly. As in, in a couple of days. It's going to keep dropping for a little while. And the thing is, even if that ends up being a very good card, which, to be fair, it looks like it is going to be, we're still talking about a card which is going to be in 70% of boxes. And you buy a box for $95, and what you get is on average, 7 super rares and 2 secret rares or alternate arts. And when the pull rates for a box are that good, how can any individual card that's, especially super rares, like I say, a 70 to a box, 7 out of 10 to a box, I mean, come on. It's just not realistic. Now, one of the arguments I have heard is, but Manga Shanks. And yes, I will admit that Manga Shanks is a very beautiful card. I would love a Manga Shanks. If I pull Manga Shanks, it ain't getting traded. That one's going in the binder. I love me a good piece of Manga Shanks. How much is Manga Shanks worth? We don't have that many sold. Here are the entirety of the sales of Manga Shanks that have happened over on TCG Player. It's a card of a very low pull rate. There have not been that many sales. They range from 500. No, it's not a coincidence that the most recent is also the cheapest. Up to 800. No, it is not a coincidence that the most expensive was also the first. And I cannot tell you where this card is going to land. What I can do, however, is show you Ghost Omnimon. Because Ghost Omnimon is the Digimon equivalent. Now, Digimon don't do this in every set. It's a rarity here, there, and everywhere. But essentially, what happened with Ghost Omnimon is that was a one-of that was in one set. And then we've had a couple since. We'll look at them in a minute. And if I show you the graph from Ghost Omnimon, one thing you will notice is it's going up. Don't look at the end of the graph. Look at the start of the graph. Because yes, I will happily admit that Ghost Omnimon right now is a $1,000 card and it is actually still trending up. But you'll notice that from December the 7th through to the middle end of January, that card dropped by like $130. So sure, don't leave it forever, but Ghost Omnimon took a sharp dip before it started going up again. And it's also worth noting that Ghost Omnimon was in a set a while ago, so we are at a stage here where it's getting on a bit. We could look at the Alphamon, which is from a more recent set, which is a kind of second ghost rare, and you will notice that what's happened to that one, sharp dip. It's just gone from 970 to 710. And yes, as the set in which that can be pulled gets older and older, it may well end up creeping up like Omnimon. But if Ghost Omnimon took a sharp dip after release, and the Ghost Alphamon took a sharp dip after release, why are we all pretending that that's not going to happen to Manga Shanks? And there's every possibility that Manga Shanks ends up exploding in value, just like we saw with Ghost Omnimon. But that's not going to be until we're a couple of sets down the road, and Romance Dawn is harder to get a hold of, and then the price keeps creeping up. We're in BT11 at the moment over in Digimon. That was the last main set that got released, was BT11. And yet, we saw that Omnimon came out in BT6, I want to say. We're a way away from that. These do go up over time. So I don't want to ruin your fun, and I'm not saying don't buy singles. At some point, I'm picking up that Igawa Romanoa Zoro, because goodness gracious me, that is an amazing card. My favourite artwork in the set, hands down. But you better believe I'm going to give it a few weeks. Let the prices stabilise. I reckon I can pick that card up for 20, 30 bucks, even though it's a good playable card. Maybe I'll be right, maybe I'll be wrong. Either way, we're going to come back, probably next week, we're going to come back and have another look at the price of the Romance Dawn, and I'm going to show you, hopefully, that my predictions were spot on. But remember, they are just predictions. If you really want a single, by all means, go and pick it up now. This is the best I can do, but I've seen it happen time and time again, so come on. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know your predictions. I want to know anything you want to tell me, so let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.